$20,000 a month by the ripe young age of 21 is not a number which I ever seriously thought was actually possible for me. That wasn't until I found a hustle that I truly believed in, made the leap and quit my job and put all my faith in this and said, no matter what comes up, I will make it work. Once I did that, my income scaled beyond what I ever thought imaginable and what I ever thought I could possibly do as a person. There are a couple of key things that I realized here which helped me truly change the way I actioned my everyday life and helped me achieve the dream that I always had in my life. So I want to teach these to you now so that you can also use them for yourself and achieve whatever it is that you want to achieve in your life. Firstly, there comes a point in your job where you're going to hit a wall. And I realized this after I took on a management position and I was working, getting paid a salary. And I thought, this money is good, but what happens when I move out? I want to try and rent my own place. I want to have all this excess cash to do these fun things. What's going to happen then? And so I thought to myself, well, in a corporate structure, if I work my way up high enough, surely it's going to get better and I'll get to a point where I'm making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year and it's going to be really, really easy. And then when I looked around in the company that I was working for, all the people in those positions were 45 at the absolute youngest. So in order for me to realize that, I was going to have to continue working for a company for another 20 to 30 years at least. And that's if I succeeded. And the final nail in the coffin for me, which made me realize this was not the option to go forward, was when the person who managed our state, he was on a couple of $100,000 a year, he quit because he couldn't handle the pressure anymore. And I thought to myself, hang on there. If I'm going to work for 30 years and I'm just going to get to a point where I'm still stressing about it and it's not worth it for a couple of $100,000 a year, why should I continue putting my effort into building this now when I can put it somewhere else? The second thing is I had started stacking skills before this. I tried 3 or 4 different online businesses before I finally found the one which actually took off and started making me $20,000 a month just 4 months after I started it. All these failed businesses though gave me some lessons. They gave me some key things to take away, some skill sets which I could apply in some way, shape or form into another business. So all these failures were not really failures, they were just me advancing my skill and giving myself a better chance of success in the next business. I will also be fair when I'm talking about this and say that I got a tremendous amount of skill which I use every day now from working that corporate job, learning how to manage a department, learning how to work with people, learning how to work hard and do all this other sort of stuff. So I'm not knocking it completely. You can get a tremendous amount of value from learning skills while working for a company before you jump out and transition into starting your own hustle. That's another thing you should be thinking about before you completely throw away your job. There can still be benefits you can get from there, which will help you when you go out to do your own thing. The third point I need to make here is one of the key mistakes I made when I started my first couple of side hustles. And one of the reasons why I think they all failed is because I was trying to think too big straight away. I was trying to think, how can I be making $100K a month as soon as possible? And while I was thinking like this, every time I wasn't making $100K a month, every time something went wrong, it was very disheartening and I started to doubt whether I could even make this particular business work. So invariably what would happen is I would quit, I would try and find a new path, a new option, an easier business and start again. Understand this when it comes to online money. Making your first $1,000 a month is probably going to be harder than making your first $10,000. And making your first $10,000 a month is going to be harder than making your first $100,000. It sounds insane to say, but it's very true. So when you go out and start your own hustle, think about it a bit smaller. Think about how can I make my first $1,000 a month? When you get there, start thinking about the $10,000 and go on. Do not try and bite off more than you can chew. If you have the resolve of a raging bear on coke, go for it. But for most of us, that's not true. And for me, it certainly wasn't. I thought I could work hard, but even so, it was too much for me. So when you go out and start your thing, get yourself set small first and then continue scaling up. Because once you get your first paycheck in, that's when you get a good rush and that's when it feels a bit easier and you get motivation then to continue pushing forward. So now we've quit our job, we've started our side hustle, and we've made our first $1,000 a month. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to start scaling. Me and my friend reinvested absolutely everything back into our affiliate marketing business. Our first 3 months of profit, 100% of it went straight back in. We were taking quite a big risk by doing that, but we weren't here to try and make chump change. We wanted some real money. And in the end, obviously, that paid off. When you're scaling, the thing which we should have done sooner is outsource. Especially if you're operating a digital business, there are so many websites out there where you can get virtual staff and they can work for incredibly cheap compared to what you'd pay for hiring staff on the ground in Western countries. And in our first 4 months of business, me and him were just drinking black coffee all day, spending 12 hours at our laptops, doing nothing else apart from eating, sleeping, working, and hitting the gym. That was our life for 3 months. But because we were afraid to really invest in the business, we held off on buying staff to do the mundane, boring tasks, which take sort of 4 to 6 hours every single day. But as soon as we did that, as soon as we backed ourselves and thought, no, let's do this, let's scale it up, it's time to take that risk, we saw much more growth with far less effort, meaning that we freed up our minds to start seeing things which we could never see before because we were so obsessed and putting our head down and just grinding it out because if we work hard, surely it's going to be better. That's not true. It's a very easy equation to do to decide when you should start outsourcing. Ask yourself, can you pay someone to do this for less than what your current hourly is? If you're making $4K a month and you can hire a virtual staff member to do it for $5 an hour, boom, the math is in your favor, you outsource it straight away, and then you put that time you've saved into doing some higher leverage tasks to continue growing the business. Do not think about it more than that. Take that leap and trust me, it'll make all the difference in your business. And once you start doing that, it comes into our last point here. It leads to a tremendous lifestyle shift. My life when I worked in Australia was based entirely around work. It was based around the work schedule that this company gave me, and anything else I wanted to do in my life, I had to work in around that. Now that I put in those hours myself and I decided I'm going to choose to work when I could be relaxing and doing something else, I've only seen benefits. Now that I've got the online income flowing in, I can essentially choose to do whatever I want in my life. And no one's going to call me and ask me if I can come in today, and no one's going to message me at 8 a.m. in the morning saying they can't work, and now I've got to try and figure out someone to replace them so that I'm not working through to 3 a.m. to get their work done. It's amazing how our perspective of what's important in life, and it's amazing how our perspective of what we want to do with our life drastically changes once we get out of that environment and we give ourselves the freedom to do whatever we want with whoever we want. I didn't actually understand what I wanted to do in life because my whole mind was filled with this idea of work this, work that. That was what my life was based around. So if you go through this process and you push it out, you quit your job, you find the thing you want to do, you can unlock such a freedom from that. So I hope you enjoyed this video, boys. If you got some value from it, drop a comment, leave a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you have not already, share it to your nan, share it to your mum, share it to your stepdad, and as always, boys, I'll see you in the next video.